Let's be honest, staring down a literature review can feel pretty daunting. But what if I told you it's not a hurdle? It's actually your secret weapon for incredible research. So let's dive in and break down how to build a great one, step by step. So, what even is a literature review? Well, it's definitely not just a boring summary of a bunch of books. Think of it more like you're a detective, creating a map of all the existing research. This map shows you exactly what we already know and, more importantly, where your big idea can make its mark. You see, a strong lit review is the absolute foundation of your work. It stops you from accidentally reinventing the wheel, and it points you straight to a gap in what people already know. And that gap, that's right where your project is going to shine. We're going to tackle this in 4 really simple phases. First up is the blueprint, then we'll get into the search, followed by the build, and finally we'll wrap it all up with the polish. All right, let's get started with phase 1, the blueprint. This is all about planning and designing your review before you even think about looking for articles. This 4-step process right here is going to be our guide from start to finish. Seriously, getting the design right at the beginning is so crucial. It makes every other step that much easier. To really design your review well, you need a focused topic. You might start with a huge idea like the effects of social media, but that's kind of like trying to boil the entire ocean. So the next move is to narrow that way down. Focusing on something way more specific, like social media and body image, gives you a much, much clearer target to aim for. And here it is, the final, most important step: hyperfocus. By zeroing in on a specific group, like Gen Z, you've suddenly created a research question that's sharp, focused, and actually answerable. Now that your question is focused, you can pull out your keywords. These words and, any synonyms you can think of are basically the keys that are going to unlock all those academic databases for you. Okay, moving on to phases 2 and 3, the search. You've got your plans, so now it's time to actually start gathering your sources and figuring out what they all mean. Your university library's website should always be your first stop. But hey, don't forget about some really powerful tools like Google Scholar, JSTOR, or even specialized databases for whatever field you're in. You gotta work smarter, not harder, right? Here's a tip. Always read the abstract first to see if an article is even relevant. And you can supercharge your search by using what are called Boolean operators, like and, or, and not. As you read, you need a system. A simple chart like this is a game changer. It helps you pull out the most important info from every single source in a really organized way. And now, for phase 4, the build. This is where we take all that amazing research and analysis and actually turn it into a cohesive piece of writing. Okay, this right here, this is probably the single best piece of advice you're going to get. Write as you read. Seriously, drafting little paragraphs as you analyze each source will save you from that terrifying feeling of staring at a blank page later on. And just as important, cite as you go. It saves you so much time and panic later when you're trying to track down where you found something. Plus, it's your best defense against accidental plagiarism. Now, to avoid just stringing a bunch of quotes together, you're gonna have to paraphrase. This is just the art of saying someone else's idea using your own unique words and sentence structure. Here's a super simple example to show you what I mean. The core idea is exactly the same, right? But the wording and the sentence structure have changed. That is perfect paraphrasing. Last but definitely not least, we have the polish. You've done all the heavy lifting, and now it's time to refine your work and double-check for any of those common mistakes. So, here's the crucial part. Check your draft against this list. Ask yourself, is this just a list of summaries, or am I building a real, logical argument that leads to my research question? After all this blueprinting, searching, and building, what's the whole point? What are we actually trying to accomplish with this thing? It really just boils down to these 3 things. First, summarize what's already been done. Second, identify the critical gap that still exists. And third, argue why your research is the absolute perfect project to fill that gap. And there you have it. You've got the 4-phase roadmap to turn what seems like a massive task into a totally manageable project. The only question left is, what research foundation are you ready to build? Hey, if this guide was helpful, do us a favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more explainers like this one. And be sure to drop a comment below to let us know what topic you want us to break down next.